Hey folks, what's going on? This is Shadow Stars coming at you folks with another video. Today's video, you can break it down into two separate sections. The first section, I'm going to be giving an update in regards to my last video about Marantz Rance. The second part of the video, I'm going to be talking about a topic I heard on Tony Denaro and AMCBiggums joint live stream or joint interview, whatnot, from last night. Just want to chime in and give my thoughts about that. So without further ado, let's get to it. So for the folks who are completely new, I'd recommend, hey, go watch the video by Marantz Rance, AMC, who runs the show now, and Tara. He put this out, premiered on January 8th, 2023, yesterday. And I did a review of that. That's same day, January 8th, 2023. And I titled mine, hey, is Marantz Rance correct? Looking at his most recent AMC video and box office update. So I did this video, which was a reaction to Marantz's video, and I fact-checked a couple things on the video. And as a result of this, I was apparently banned/kicked off of his Discord server. Now, I just find that a little weird and kind of hilarious. Let me explain my position. What I find hilarious is that, hey, I'm a person who brought up points that disputed some of the statements that you made. I pointed out, hey, your 13F filings, the stuff that you were saying, on my video, I pulled up from the SEC Edgar website, I pulled directly the 13F filings. Something that you didn't do. You said you had it, whatever. You may have had it, you might have closed the tabs, whatever. But nonetheless, in my video, I pulled it up from the SEC Edgar website, and I showed you that, hey, your statement is factually incorrect. When you said that, hey, they've been in for AMC for 10 quarters, I pulled up all the filings, 13F. I pulled it from the beginning of 2020 until the most recent one in 2022, September 30th. And hey, there were certainly quarters where they didn't hold AMC. So when you say something, or when you type something like, hey, 10 quarters, when they've been holding for 3 years, that's not factually correct according to the 13F filings. And I even said that, hey, you know what? You remember that there's a little loophole in the 13F filings in regards to the fact that, hey, it only tells you their positions on that date of reporting. It does nothing to tell you about, hey, if they moved in and out of their position within that period. If they didn't have that position on that day of reporting, then hey, no one's none the wiser unless they choose to actually disclose that position separately. So, direct facts. What I said, my statements are backed up, factually correct, because hey, according to the SEC Edgar website, the 13F filings I've pulled, I showed that hey, that statement was my statement was correct, and what you stated or what you typed was incorrect. This 10 quarters holding for 3 years, not correct. That's around that 4-minute, 34 second period. So let's listen to it real quick. I'll play it at regular speed. I got a comment saying that, hey, when you do 2x speed, you can't listen to it. So let's listen to it normal speed.
I even have a filing from them for 2020. In December, he was still in it. He has been in AMC for 3 years, and he is now in turn.
Okay. So when I proved it, I can prove it again. So once again. Oops. Sorry about that. I have so many different filings up here. Let me close down some of this. So here, let's do it again. I'll do it live for everyone. March filing of 2020. Did they have AMC? No. June 30th, 2020. Yes, they did. AMC, right there. There was an amendment. I'm just doing it for full disclosure. Update to Tilray. You got their quarter 3 and quarter 4. Quarter 3, yes. AMC right there. Quarter 4, AMC no. So definitely quarters where they had positions in AMC and quarters where they didn't. It's undeniable. And then the other point, and this is something that also I replied back to Marantz. And let's see, this was, let me get the timestamp. I think it was 11:23-ish.
Money the whole way, and because they're making so much money, they're now long 8% of their portfolio is AMC.
Okay, so I contested that. Is it really 8%? And I'll show you folks the math. When you use the assets under management, and I'll pull their filing up again. Let's be completely transparent. This is their most recent 13F filing as of September 30th. They had almost $8 billion assets under, of their total table value. AUM, assets under management. So, what is 8% of this figure, 3.78 billion? 302 million. So what was their AMC position? Well, we know as of the filing, their filing, September 30th, 2022, they didn't have any position, right? They didn't disclose that, hey, no AMC. But hey, we do know that they recently had to file a 13D. And in that 13D, yeah, they had 8.5% of APE. But you said portfolio of Antera's portfolio. So that doesn't make sense. Because hey, let's do the math. You purchased 60 million APE for just under 35 mil. Under the forward purchasing agreement, we know that, hey, you got another almost 75 mil that will be paid for 106.5 million APE. And you'll do a debt equity swap, basically, for 100 million of the second lien notes due 2026. You'll get approximately 91 million APE. That combined value would be 210 million. That's not even factoring in the fact that, hey, you know what? What is that note? What's that trading on? What's the value of it? If you look at AMC's bonds, what are they trading at? Are they trading at their full value, at a premium, or at a discount? If you look at a lot of their bonds, they're trading at massive discounts. But anyways, give you benefit of the doubt. And remember, this stuff hasn't gone through yet. Yes, they still own these bonds, these notes. Antera owns it. But hey, this purchase, has it closed yet? No. They didn't pay that 75.1 million yet. That's not fully gone through yet. So even in that best case scenario, 210 mil, because 30, basically, let's round that up. If you combine the 75.1 and the 34.9, that's 110 mil. You got the 100 mil from the notes. That's 210 mil. 210 mil is only 5.55% of their total AUM of that 3.78 billion value. So I called into question, is that 8% figure correct? No. That 8% figure is only correct for the 8.5% of APE. Antera owns 8.5% of APE. And I did some calculations of, hey, their total calculation, they would own 257 million shares of APE if the whole deal goes through and everything. And if you combine the values of all the shares, all the dilutions, according to my calculations, there would be total of 1.4 million, 1.4 billion ape. The sum of that, 1.4. So that would be approximately 18% of AMC, provided, hey, everything equals out to one to one. But nonetheless, I've shown you my logic. I've shown you the reasoning. I've shown you where I'm pulling the data figures. You can look at the agreement. You can look at, hey, the 75.1 million. You've got the 34.9 million for the 60 million ape, the 75.1 million for the 106 mil ape. You got the 91 mil ape for the swap of the 100 mil of the second lien notes. I showed you all that. Now, where is any of the statements that I made incorrect? Where I pulled up the 13F filings, I pulled up the 13D filing. Where is it incorrect? But anyways, regardless of incorrect or not, I was banned off and kicked off their Discord server. I don't know who exactly did it. I don't know. Was it Marantz himself? Was it one of his mod team moderators? I don't know. But I was kicked off. I'm not able to rejoin. The fact that, hey, you choose to censor, you choose to ignore someone that, hey, provides an opposing opinion, that's interesting. It's one thing that, hey, if someone tries to refute you, but provides no context, provides no evidence, provides no sources, that's one thing. But I came in here with a rational, objective, neutral position of, hey, I'm just going off of the facts. I'm just going off of, hey, the SEC Edgar website. I'm pulling it directly from official, reputable source. And I'm showing you that, hey, what that website, what the SEC Edgar website tells me, shows me, directly contradicts what you stated. For you to ban me because I did that, that tells me more about you. And then you choose to leave a comment. Hey, here, get the info you need. I guess I could start putting these links in the descriptions of the videos. I could have saved you some time. And that goes to an interview with Himanshu Gulati of Antara Capital. An interview that was done back in November 10th, 2021. I didn't listen to every single second of it, but I don't see how that is relevant. And I said this in my comment, reply back to you, of how is that relevant to the points that I made? How is that relevant to the 13F filings? How is that relevant to their 8% portfolio AUM calculation? The research, the DD, how does that all make sense? I don't know. But you know what? Rance, he's claimed that, hey, you know what? Feel free to come on. When he did his Twitter spaces, he let all sorts of people come on and say, oh, you know what? Feel free to talk your mind. And it was a lot of times crazy apes. And he would smack them down. But hey, I'm not an ape. I'll disclose that, hey, I hold 0 positions in GameStop or AMC. No shares, no shorts, no calls, no puts, no options. I come with just statements that can be backed up through sources of the SEC Edgar website, through those official filings. And when I prove that your statements are false, you choose to censor me. Interesting, huh? So I'll let that be, whatever it is. I don't know what sort of axe Marantz Rance has to grind with me. I thought I was fair in my assessments because all I did was prove. I said some statements that were backed up by facts. I don't know how he could come back and disprove the points that I made to say that, hey, my facts aren't real facts. But it is what it is. So I'm not going to spend any more time on this part for now. Let's go through second part. The second part was on Tony Denaro. I apologize if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but did a late night stock chat with AMCBiggums. And the interesting part was they were talking about. They talked a wide variety of things, but Biggums talked about this IMAX deal. So I want you folks to listen to it real quick. Hopefully, I have it stopped at the right section here.
They don't have it in the bank. And if you want them to get cash flow positive, they have to get better performing theaters. They have to get this popcorn has to take off. Credit cards has to do good. The Saudi Arabia deals, it needs to take off over there. They got 10 new theaters coming up. And for people that don't think that's a big deal, they're top 10 in the world in IMAX sales.
Okay, so that's the point I wanted to talk about. The IMAX sales, the new deals. Do I think it's a big deal? I don't think it's a big deal. Why does he think it's a big deal? Let's listen to it again real quick.
They don't have it in the bank. And if you want them to get cash flow positive, they have to get better performing theaters. They have to get this popcorn has to take off. Credit cards has to do good. The Saudi Arabia deals, it needs to take off over there. They got 10 new theaters coming up. And for people that don't think that's a big deal, they're top 10 in the world in IMAX sales.
Okay. So this is part of, hey, there's a press release October 27th, 2022 that, hey, IMAX and AMC cinemas, they have 3 locations in Saudi Arabia, and the new deal will grow their partnership to a planned 18 screens in 12 cities across the country. Now, let's put some perspective into it. You know what? I'm going to pull up the filings here. Oops. AMC. What I want you folks to understand. Once again, I use official, reputable sources. This is all from the SEC Edgar website. So I'm going to pull up their most recent 10Q filing. And just for the sake of it, I'm going to skip through. Now, in their filing, they tell you, hey, look at how many the number of screens of IMAX they have. And they break it down. US markets versus international markets. IMAX as of Q3 2022, 186 number of screens. International, 36. Now keep that figure in mind, 186 and 36. So let's round up, let's say 250 screens. Now, what I'm going to pull up right here, if you scroll further down, look at how many screens that they operate. They operate in the US markets 7,712 screens as of September 30th, 2022. Internationally, they operate 2,806 screens in the international markets. Look at their revenue. Admissions revenue in the US markets, $417.6 billion as of their Q3 report. Internationally, 127.7. Their international market, their admissions, is a fraction of what they do domestically in the US markets. So what good does it? Yes, there is a benefit you get when, hey, you're going to grow it by 18 screens in 12 cities across the country. But how many screens, I told you, in the US, or in the US markets rather, 7,712. Internationally, 2,806. 18 more screens out of 2,806. Is that a big deal? Is that going to be a big impact? This is some of the stuff I wish that they would cover. Now, what he said isn't factually incorrect. That, hey, IMAX stuff, great, you're growing your business. The important part is, hey, as you're growing your business, what's the profit margins on that? How much money are you spending and how much money are you making as a result of that? What is the net balance of that? If you're spending more, then what's your ROI? How long is it going to take for you to break even on it? And don't forget, how many IMAX screens do they have? 186 in the US markets and 36 in international. It's a small portion. Yeah, sure, Saudi Arabia was a top 10 global market for IMAX, with per screen average of more than 100 million annually. But that doesn't mean much because look at their revenue split. Domestic, international. Your US market versus your international markets. Do the math. 417.6 plus 127.7. Total of 545.3 million. 127.7 is what percentage of 545.3? 23%. 23% of their revenue was from international markets. Of which, how much of that is from their Saudi Arabia? Yes, it's good that, hey, you're expanding markets. It's good that, hey, you're offering premium selection like IMAX where you can charge more for your tickets and perhaps you'll get better margins. But nonetheless, that's not the biggest factor I think that should be focused on. When you look at financial statement, total admissions revenue, your food and beverage revenue. What's the film exhibition cost? What's your food and beverage cost? What's your profit margins? What's your percentage margins on your food and beverage, your concessions versus your tickets? When you sell your tickets, you don't earn all of that. That's not straight profit. You've got to pay money back to the studios. There's a revenue split in that. When you choose to feature other films, let's say whatever Netflix films in AMC, how's that revenue split work? Is Netflix going to be paying AMC to show it, or is it the other way around, where AMC will be paying Netflix some portion of the money that they get to show those films, to show those movies? The context is very important. The fact that, hey, they're able to add more well-performing theaters, that's a good sign. I don't deny that. I don't refute that. My point is, hey, it's never off of the ticket sales where they make a good portion of their money, of their profits. That's not where they're going to do very well. It's at the concession stands where you have super expensive popcorn, sodas, candies, whatever. Your food and beverage revenue, 333 million. Your cost is 58.5 million. Sure, this is the most simplified version. Sure, there's tons of other costs factored into it, but nonetheless, your profit margins is significantly greater on your concessions. That's where the concessions is where that's where your company saved. You need foot traffic. You need a lot of people coming to the theaters, not only to watch the movies, but also to spend money at the concession stands, to buy your popcorn, to buy your sodas. Whatever, your $4, $5 sodas. What's the cost of the syrup? What's the cost of the machine, the water that they use? All in all, profit margins are insane on that stuff. The cost of the cup, the lid, the straw, etc. Pennies versus what they charge. That's where they make a lot of the money. So, what Biggums does, and I'm calling him out for, is that, hey, he only presents the most positive aspect of the situation. There's no context. Sure, the Saudi Arabia, the IMAX stuff, it's good news. But what's the impact of the good news? How's that going to affect the bottom line? How's it going to affect their AMC's financial statement? Stuff like that. And there's other stuff that I could cover with Biggums. Lots of times where he's only presented the most bullish of scenarios, like when he first covered Ape and how Ape could be used to fully pay down the debt. This was a couple months back when Ape was first being talked about. None of his stuff came to fruition. But my whole point, this video, when I talk about this section, is that, hey, they pick and choose only the good stuff. They never provide the full context. And I think that is a big problem. Not only do they present misinformation a lot of the times, but in a lot of the catalysts that they try to push, that I say that they're pumping and hyping, it's not that impactful. And the point of me and making this channel is that, hey, I like to call out the false narratives, the misinformation, the pumping and the hyping without providing true context. I already disclosed that, hey, I hold no position. I'm coming at it from an objective standpoint. I show you where I'm getting all this information, getting from a lot of times the SEC Edgar website, and I show you, hey, these are the statements that I'm making. These are backed up by the filings that I can pull up on the SEC website. So these are facts that I'm talking about. And I provide the context. Because you need to stop basically tricking, pumping, and hyping folks that don't know better, that haven't done the same research that they should be doing, that I have done to look into this stuff. But that's about it. I've been babbling on for a while. For the folks who made it to the very end of the video, I appreciate you folks. If you liked my content, I'd appreciate it if you could hit the like, hit the subscribe, share this video with folks that you think that should be listening to it. Share it with folks that you think that might appreciate it, that might like this content. If you got anything, hey, that you need to fact check me on, please leave it down below in the comments. See something that you like, leave them down below. Something you didn't like, let me know. I'm trying to always improve and provide you folks with the best information from reliable sources. And I got no problem being fact checked. If I'm wrong, call me out on it. Because what I'm doing is also I'm calling other folks out. And when you critique me, I take that criticism to improve myself. I'm not going to censor you because, hey, I provided an opposing viewpoint with facts. If you come with a critique based on facts, you show me the sources, reputable sources, You tell me, hey, you're wrong. This is why. I'll read it. And if I'm truly proven wrong, I accept it. I won't censor you because, hey, you chose to take a stance of not agreeing with me. I don't ever do that. But until next time, folks, this is going to be Shadow Stars. Take it easy, folks. Peace.